Alright, Math 3, welcome back. I think we're going to be online for about a 3-week span here. The hopes that we, continue classes like we would normally. So I'm going to basically go over, this document page by page. You could find it on Google Classroom. It's also available hard copy at school. Just, mention my name and your period. And either your Math 3 or Math 1 for me. Should be able to get one. Alright, so let's get started with a couple of the first ones here. So go through each variation. So if you notice, all of these look the same. I'll go ahead and pick one of those. Let's go ahead and pick number 1. Zoom in on it a little bit more. It's going to ask me for a couple things here. Well, technically it only asked me for the sum of the geometric series. So here's what we need to acknowledge about this geometric series is that it's multiplying by a certain number after each term. Now if you can't tell which number it's multiplying by, what you could always do is take your calculator there and divide the second term by the first term. So we get 1/2 that we're multiplying by. Now from there, what we could do is generate some info that we already know. So based on the information that we need to find the sum, we need the total number of terms. So number of terms, that's going to be what n stands for. We also need a sub 1. A sub 1 in this case is the first term. And we also need to know r. This is the common ratio. I should be denoting that one in green here. Go ahead and denote this one in red for us. So in this case, 4 is our first term. And then we'll keep it in that standard color there. So from this, we know the last term, we know the first term, we know the common ratio. We just don't know the number of terms. So here, I'll go ahead and write down the info that we do know. N is our question mark. R here is by 1/2, multiplying. And a sub 1 here is 4. Now from this, we could go ahead and generate an equation that's going to give us the value for n. So let's set up that equation. So we got 4 times 1/2 to the power of n minus 1 will be how I write any term along this series. All I need to know is what position it's in. Think of this as me being able to come up with any value along this series as long as I know, one of two things. Well, in this case, I know that the last term is 1/16. So put that in this color here. So I'm going to put 1/16 equals, well, something along this pattern. And what I need to figure out is n, or its position in this series. Alright, to do this, you do need to convert this into a log. So I'm going to do a first step here, and that's divide both sides by 4. Alright, so as a result of dividing both sides by 4, we are left with 1/2 to the n minus 1 power. If we look at our calculator here, should be able to see that 1/16, it's 1 over 16, divided by 4, it's going to give us 1 over 64. Okay, so that gives us 1 over 64. So up to this point, it's just getting rid of the 4, which represents the first term. And now we got the base and the power all by itself, so now I could go ahead and use that conversion. So 2 different ways to do this one. I'll show you the one that we could just take it into the calculator afterwards. We're finding the log of base 1/2 of 1 over 64. And that's going to equal our power here, n minus 1. So that's one way. The other way, and obviously after this let's just finish this one up. Well, I need to add 1 to that total. So n here is going to equal, let's show you on the calc here, log base 1 over 2. I'm going to put a fraction there, 1 over 2. Of 1 over 64. And then I need to add 1 to that total. Trying to do it all in one step there. So probably should have gotten 6 plus 1, which ends up being 7. So there, we figured out n from that point. Now we're ready to find the sum. I'm going to put the sum right up here. So the sum is going to be the first term, which we said was 4, times 1 minus, in this case, 1/2, to the power of n, 7. I'm going to go ahead and put parentheses there. All over 1 minus the 1/2 there. So from this, we could come up with the sum. Alright, so 127 over 16, which if we add them all up, it'll be about 7.93. So I'll put both answers in there. 127 over 16. Which equals a decimal approximation. And then we'll do it, let's go 7.94, roughly. I'll put the swigglies here. Alright, so this tutorial should help you with numbers 1 through 4. I'll post them by parts here so you don't get overwhelmed by one video. So try 2, 3, 4. If you have any questions, please email me. I'll be available on email, and if you want to do some kind of video chat, we could do that too. So send me that request via email if needed.